What's up, MTG Burgeoning community and YouTube viewing audience? If you are part of the latter and wish to join the former, click that subscribe button now, and in so doing, you become eligible for a bevy of sweet subscriber rewards, all of which you can peruse in the bottom of the description today. And in today's video, as you can tell, we're back. It's Sunday PHONday, Morophon the Boundless, and we're going to move one step closer to completing our EDH commander build, Morophon the Boundless with Human Legends. All right, MTG Burgeoning fans, Sunday is Fun Day. That's Morophon Day, to be more specific. Welcome back. We are continuing our series of building an EDH commander deck with Morophon as the general/commander. And the theme of this deck is Human Legends. And if you missed any of the previous installments in this series, you can click any of the links below in the description to bring you right up to speed. So you know who the commander is. It's Morophon. It's all things Morophon, all things Sunday. And these are the cards that we've already included in the deck. Urza's Incubator, Herald's Horn, Vanquisher's Banner, Kindred Discovery, Distant Melody, Kindred Summons, Door of Destinies, Icon of Ancestry, Cathar's Crusade, Lifecrafter's Bestiary, Mass Appeal, Angel of Glory's Rise, Alesha Who Smiles at Death, Azusa Lost But Seeking, Brea Ethereum Shaper, Bruce Tarl Boorish Herder, Captain Sisay, Daxis of Meletis, Grand Arbiter Augustin IV, Hannah Ship's Navigator, Joyra Weatherlight Captain, Jirina Kudro, Joda Archmage Eternal, Judith the Scourge Diva, Calcian the Plague, Lavinia Azorius Renegade, Marchesa the Black Rose, Wrath Capuchin Ship's Mage, Saskia the Unyielding, Sen Triplets, Silas Wren Seeker Adept, Sisay Weatherlight Captain, Sorak Dragonclaw, Sidri Galvanic Genius, Tajik Blade of the Legion, Tajik Legion's End, Thalia Heretic Cather, Triad of Fates, Timna the Weaver, Yasova Dragonclaw, Heroes Podium, Day of Destiny, Arvad the Cursed, Konda's Banner, Sanctuary Lockdown, General's Enforcer, Primeval's Glorious Rebirth, Sigarda Heron's Grace, Shabraz the Sky Shark, and Kindred Dominance. Those are the cards already included in this Human Legend Morophon build. And in today's video, we are going to install the rest of our spells. We have some ramp spells, some card advantage spells, and some removal spells to include, and maybe a couple of other choice ones down the way. So why don't we start with our ramp? And because we're running a legendary themed deck with our humans, it makes a lot of sense to include a Mox Amber. Cost 0 to cast. Turn it sideways for 1 mana of any color among legendary creatures we control. It also says planeswalkers, but we don't have any planeswalkers in this deck. So Mox Amber is in. Fits our theme very well. Of course, best artifact in our format, Soul Ring going in. And second best artifact in our format, Arcane Signet, that's going in. And as we continue with the theme of ramp, we are also going to include a copy of Smothering Tithe. 3 and a white. This enchantment says whenever an opponent draws a card, we incessantly say, are you going to pay 2 for that? Are you going to pay 2 for that? Are you going to pay 2 for that? And if the opponent doesn't, then we create a treasure token. And of course, a treasure is tap, sack, Add 1 mana of any color to our mana pool. Smothering Tithe is in, and those 4 spells are our ramp spells. Now let's talk about some card advantage spells. Card advantage, for the purposes of this portion of the video, is going to be card draw and perhaps some tutor effects. If are you going to pay 2 for that wasn't enough, then we're going to include are you going to pay 1 for that. Heuristic Study, 2 and a blue. If an opponent casts a spell, we draw a card unless that player pays 1. Heuristic Study is in, get some cards into our hand. Talking about the potential tutor effect, Shared Summons, 3 and 2 green. Search our library for up to 2 creature cards with different names, reveal them, put them into our hand, then shuffle our library. Okay, so Shared Summons, if we were to take a quick perusal of the creatures that we have in this deck, if we just look at our human legends, the first 2 that come to my mind most likely would be Sisay, Weatherlight Captain, for its fetch ability. Paying 1 of each color, we search our library for a legendary permanent card with converted mana cost less than Sisay's power and put that card onto the battlefield. So Sisay would be an option. Joda is another option because of the ability to cast all of our spells with white, blue, black, red, green, and in conjunction with Morophon, of course, all those spells become free. Joyra is another option. Whenever we cast a historic spell, we draw a card. Historics are artifacts, legendaries, and sagas, of course. Captain Sisay, tap, search our library for a legend or legendary card, reveal that card and put it into our hand. Okay, so those would be some of the prime choices for a casted Shared Summons. So very good. And the next card, and I want everyone to just take a moment if they notice, the majority of those featured human legends that we were talking about looking for with the Shared Summons, nearly every one of them were a converted mana cost of 4. Why is that important? Well, let's take a look at this mythic rare from Hour of Devastation called Uncage the Menagerie. X and 2 green. Search our library for up to X creature cards with different names that each have converted mana cost X. Reveal them, put them into our hand, then shuffle our library. So, for example, if X is 1, we search for 1 creature with CMC 1, which we would hopefully never do because they don't exist in this deck. The best case scenario is we cast this for a CMC of 6 with X being 4. And if we make X 4, then we search our library for 4 different creature cards that have different names, all with converted mana cost of 4. And let's just take a look at what those humans are. They have a CMC of 4. All right. Triad of Fates. Not great. Tajic, Blade of Legion. Saskia the Unyielding for our combat, a very good choice for a 4 CMC. Wrath Capuchin, casting our historic spells as though they had flash, a good choice. Marchesa the Black Rose, Dethrone, another good choice. Joda, an excellent choice with the eventual casting of Morophon. Even Jirina Kudra wouldn't be bad for the +2/+0 boost. Joyra, Weatherlight Captain, another great choice to draw some cards. Grand Arbiter Augustin IV to slow down our opponents through taxes and reducing some of our spells. Captain Sisay, another 4 CMC. Bruce Tarl, not terrible. Brea, Ethereum Shaper at 4 CMC. So as you can see, there are quite a number of spicy 4 CMC creature cards that we can search for when we cast Uncage the Menagerie. We're only tapping a total mana cost of 6 to get 4 creatures with 4 CMC. A wonderful addition to this deck is Uncage the Menagerie. Very, very sneaky good card. All right, and rounding out our quote-unquote card advantage spells, I guess if you can call it that, yeah, I suppose we can get away with doing that for this card. We're going to include one copy of Eerie Ultimatum. This is our Abzan Ultimatum, double white, double green, triple black. Return any number of permanent cards with different names from our graveyard to the battlefield. This ultimatum was just made for Commander. We just return every permanent card from our graveyard right into play. This deck will end up being a true singleton deck, so we don't worry about the potential of having basic lands of the same type having multiples in the graveyard. All right, and lastly, we're going to roll out a half dozen of removal spells, and then we're going to close out the spells for this deck, move on to next week's video of installing our land base, and then we're going to complete our first Morophon build. So, in trying to keep the theme of legendary matters to go with our humans, I tried to key on some removal spells that had a legendary theme to them. It's too hard to do it with all of them. The deck would just not play very well if every single spell was all, legendary, because we wouldn't have any instants. And we got to have some kind of instant removal. So before we move into the instant removal spells, let's talk about some of our legendary spells that are removal spells. And we're going to Dark Ascension here for the first one, Hell Vault. Legendary artifact, 3 CMC. Tap 1, turn this sideways, exile target creature we control. Tap 7, turn this sideways, exile target creature we don't control. When Hell Vault is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, return all cards exiled with it to the battlefield under their owner's control. So we have the potential of saving our creatures. We have the potential of exiling our opponent's creatures, and we also have a little built-in political game that we could play by having Hell Vault out there on the battlefield. So the versatility of this spell, being removal and being some defensive capabilities for our own creatures, so no one tries to control magic them or anything like that, I think including Hell Vault is a good flavor win. It's legendary and it fits the removal. I'm looking forward to playing with it in the deck. All right, next up, another legendary removal spell. This one not an artifact, however. This one is a sorcery. Urza's Ruinous Blast is 4 and a white, and we can only cast a legendary sorcery if we control a legendary creature or planeswalker. So again, there are no planeswalkers in this deck. So Urza's Ruinous Blast has to be cast when we have a legendary creature in play. And what this sorcery does from Dominaria is exiles all non-land permanents that aren't legendary. So we do have to exercise some caution here because we do have some permanents that are not legendary in this deck. Not a ton of them, but just from today's video, Rhystic Study is not legendary. Smothering Tithe is not legendary, neither is Soul Ring or Arcane Signet. But sometimes, as we know in our format, hurting ourselves a little bit is acceptable if it hurts our opponents a lot. All right, and legendary removal spell number 3, one of my personal favorites, Predator Flagship. CMC of 5. We can tap 2 when target creature gains flying until end of turn. And notice the text, it says target creature. It doesn't necessarily say target creature that we control. We could target one of our opponent's creatures with this ability. And additionally, we can tap 5, turn Predator Flagship sideways, and destroy target creature with flying. So for an investment of 7, if a creature doesn't already have flying, we can tap 2, give it flying, tap 5, tap this, and destroy target creature. And it's a reusable effect because it is an artifact. And again, it's legendary, so it fits our legendary flavor theme a little bit better. All right, very good. So this brings us to our last 3 removal spells. And you got a couple instants, a couple of sorceries. We're trying to be as versatile as we can. Still, we want to drip with some legendary flavor here, but we don't want to be oversaturated with the spice because then we're just not going to taste that good. So in so doing, we're going to include 1 copy of Anguished Unmaking. 1, a white and a black. This instant, exile target non-land permanent, and we lose 3 life. It's not legendary, but it hits any non-land permanent. And that's what we're going to need to do because, admittedly, because of the desire to have some flavor added to this deck, our removal is not going to be as strong as it would be if we just focused on the best removal spells in the format. Because as you're going to notice after these next two cards, Absent is going to be Cyclonic Rift. Absent is going to be Living Death. I mean, these are some removal staples that we're not going to include because flavor is going to be important for Morophon. So let's move forward with our second to last removal spell, Utter End. It does what Anguished Unmaking does for one more colorless, and we don't lose 3 life. Exile target non-land permanent. And that brings us to the very last spell of our deck. This will bring us up to a 64 card deck, and then 65 will be Morophon the Boundless, which will leave us with 35 lands to include. And the last removal spell is 1 copy of Austere Command. 4 and double white. This sorcery allows us to pick 2. We destroy all artifacts. We destroy all enchantments, we destroy all creatures with converted mana cost 3 or less, or we destroy all creatures with converted mana cost 4 or greater. So as you can tell with Austere Command, in addition to Utter End and Anguished Unmaking, even though these are spells that are not legendary, we did gravitate towards them because they offer greater versatility in removal. And there we have it, folks. Our deck list is complete, absent the installation of our lands. And that's where the MTG Burgeoning community comes into play. In the comment section below, leave me some ideas of some nice utility legendary lands that we can include in this deck. We have to be careful because we are running 5 colors, so we can't have 20 we can't have 20 legendary lands that all produce colorless mana. But I would like to include some legendary lands that could help synergize what we're doing with the deck. Leave any suggestions for these lands in the comment section below. And this is MTG Burgeoning, folks. Today is Sunday PHONday, and we're trying to finish up our Human Legend EDH build.